Next, I'd love to jump into a demo. Cool. So this is the Dragonfly Cloud console. You can see here, we have data stores, networks, account. This is just a new demo account I created, so I don't have any data stores yet, but I'm gonna walk through what it looks like to create one here. So let's call this our demo data store. You can see here that I'm able to select the cloud provider I want, AWS, GCP, Azure. We'll use AWS for this demo. I can also select whatever region I want. We'll just stick with US East 1. Here's where I can decide if I want a single shard or I want a multi-shard cluster. For this, if we go to multi-shard, we can go by default up to 2 terabytes. We can actually go a lot higher than that, if these kind of default limits are removed. But for this demo, we're going to just stick with a single shard, 100 gigabytes of memory instance. Here's where we get into the compute level, and this is basically this determines how much compute your instances come with. You can work with our team on this, and where we work with customers all the time to help right size you into the compute level that's best for you. But this is mostly going to be determined by what level of throughput you're experiencing at peak load. And it also depends on the type of data structures and commands you're running. It really depends, but if you're talking about sets and gets, dealing mostly with strings, the standard level, it's generally going to scale up to 70, 80,000 requests a second. Enhanced is going to get you up into the hundreds of thousands. Extreme is going to get you up into the potentially millions. So that's kind of just a general order of magnitude of what these are capable of achieving, but it's best to test and see what works best for you for your workload. I'm going to just use standard for now. You can see we have this cost estimate down here too. $8 a gigabyte. I'm just provisioning 100 gigabytes of memory, so you can see that's $800 a month. Getting in here into security, so we have 2 ways that we provide that you're able to connect to your data store. One is just via TLS on the public network, and the second one is by connecting to a private network. I have a couple private networks already provisioned here, so you can see I can connect to one of those that I've already set up. For this demo, I'll just stick with a public endpoint, which is good for testing. When you go into production, we definitely recommend using a VPC connection. But for this demo, I'm just going to stick with a TLS public connection string. When we get down in here into durability and high availability, so on the durability side, if we're using a cache, we enable cache. That's going to enable an eviction policy, so we'll drop items as the memory fills up. If we don't use an eviction policy, you'll get out of memory errors as you fill up. For this demo, I'm going to provision a cache eviction policy. Here's where you can select what availability zone you want your master to run in. And then you can add replicas if you want high availability. So say I wanted high availability, this would add a replica zone that would be, all of my data would be written to both my master and my replica. All reads would go to my master. If something failed with my master for some reason, Dragonfly Cloud would then begin reading from the replica so that I don't experience any outage. And that's how we achieve high availability. And you can even add, a second replica for additional durability. So for this demo, I'm just running a cache, 100 gigabytes. I don't actually need high availability, so I'm not going to provision anything there. And then we have a couple of specially tuned instances. If you're running BullMQ, which is a popular queuing library on Node, or Sidekick, which is and for the Ruby ecosystem, another popular queuing library, we have some special enhancements we've made to enable better performance on those. Again, for this demo, I don't need those, but those are options for those of you using that. There we go. So I'm able to review, kind of see all the details, 100 gigabytes, public endpoint, no eviction policy. Oh, I actually want to turn the eviction policy on. Cool, looks good. And now I will create it. So it's now creating the data store for me. This typically takes about 2 minutes or so. While that's getting provisioned, I'll kind of show a couple of the other parts of the console. So this is my networks tab. This is where I create my VPC connections. You can see I already had a couple created here. I can add those connections or create new, networks to connect to. We also have our account tab, which is, have the users in the org. We can create API keys if we want to interact programmatically with the product. I can get my usage here, see my invoice for the month. Everything is billed hourly. Can look at my backups. If I run any backups, I'll show that later, but I can run snapshots of the data store, and those will be stored here. I can also import RDB backups if I have an existing backup I want to hydrate my data store with for migration, and then obviously managing payment methods here. Let's jump back over and take a look at the data source. So it's still building, probably take another minute or so. But you can see once we do have it up, we'll be able to get monitoring with it. The dashboard will be right here. And I'll also show a brief kind of demo of how we can change scale the data store once it's actually provisioned. Just give one more minute for this to complete. Cool. So it looks like it's done now. Yeah, it took about 2 minutes. So now I have an active data store. I can come in here and see my connection details. So here's my connection URL, my port, my key. So I can actually go ahead and just copy this, go to the library or the CLI I'm using to connect to it and begin interacting with the data store. I have a dashboard right here that's provisioned for me automatically. There's not going to be anything there because I haven't actually interacted with it yet, or sent any data to it yet. But we do have a default dashboard that's included, and then also provide a Prometheus endpoint if you want to export your metrics to your own monitoring solution. Here's where we can provision backups. I can schedule them, do a manual backup. I can restore from backup. But what I want to show real quick here is how the scaling works. So say I have this 100 gigabyte cache. I'm an e-commerce company, Black Friday is coming up. I'm expecting a huge boost in traffic. Maybe I'm not expecting, I don't need my cache to go beyond 100 gigabytes. I could increase that if I wanted, but I'm expecting way more throughput. I want to increase my compute to enhance, to handle. I'm expecting 500,000 requests a second. I want to be able to scale to handle that. I can do that in real time. All of my, Dragonfly Cloud will migrate all my data automatically. All I have to do is change that compute, hit apply. And again, it's going to take another minute or two to complete that migration. But it's really simple to scale up and down, whether it's additional memory, additional compute, whatever you need. It's as easy as what I just showed you. I can't show you backups right now. This is running. This will take a couple of minutes, but the backups is pretty straightforward. I can set a schedule on every 15 minutes. I want to run a snapshot, or I can just go in and run one manually whenever I want. Yeah, that's the demo of that's basically the rundown of Dragonfly Cloud console. Like I mentioned before, actually connecting and interacting with the data store, it works just like Redis. You're going to use your same library. You're going to use your same commands. So I don't think there's anything super interesting to show with that right now. The main thing I wanted to cover is how you actually get a Dragonfly Cloud data store up and running. If anyone watching this wants to do the same, all you need to do is go to dragonflydb.cloud. This is the URL for the managed service. And you can click here and create an account and get a free trial and test it out for yourself. So yeah, that's the demo and that's the introduction. Let's see if does anybody have questions or have anything they want to see in the product or anything they were hoping we cover that didn't get covered today. Feel free to drop questions into the comments, and I'm happy to go over those. All right, well, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you do end up watching this later, watch the recorded version, you do have questions, you can always hop into our Discord. The team's there answering questions all the time, so don't hesitate to come ask there, and please try out Dragonfly Cloud. Let us know what you think. Yeah, thanks for joining.